So Piers,
I'm Piers Corbyn, and we're here
today?
from Equality Fair, and just delivered a letter to Sajid Javid. Lisa's going to read the letter.
Okay. Dear Sajid, complaints about individuals obtaining a court judgment that the NHS staff contracts are not contractual, contrary to Parliament and the Supreme Court. We, the undersigned, in the public interest, formally complain about the individuals who have obtained a court judgment that the NHS staff terms and conditions are not contractual. We enclose evidence with our letter and remind you of your ongoing duty to achieve the correct result. We are very concerned that such a judgment was obtained to deny contractual rights to a UK citizen before the COVID-19 pandemic in breach of natural justice, which exposes members of the public, the NHS and families to risk of miscarriages of justice. But the implications are also beyond NHS contracts. We observe that the judgment was given in clear ignorance of facts, of the expressed terms in the NHS staff terms and the Supreme Court ruling on contractual rights. Therefore, we observe that such proceedings were clearly unfair by ignoring such contractual terms as established by Parliament and the Supreme Court to decide what is true and false in this matter by way of a final hearing. We have seen that you have received a formal complaint on 12 August, which you have ignored. We observe the final public hearing at the Supreme Court about this case as being administratively obstructed and has clearly not taken place. It is important that public funds are used with integrity and truthful judgments are obtained. It is also very important for us to know if you stand by contractual terms, the government, NHS staff and the public rely on you for the effective running of the NHS. If we are wrong, please tell us what is true. We look forward to hearing from you, especially whether you will now apply to the High Court or Supreme Court to declare such a judgment void and of no effect. There has to be a final hearing at the Supreme Court as per Section 40 of the Constitutional Reform Act 2005, without continuing to deprive the basic human rights of any citizen for the political interests of a few. We also observe that the first complaint response enclosed on behalf of Matt Hancock and Caroline Dinage is barely helpful. We hope you will accept that people who work in the NHS deserve their basic human rights, and we expect ministers to comply with their elected duty in public office to ensure fairness and the rule of constitutional law. Thank you.
And signed by 4 of us. Do you want to read out the names? I'll read out the names. Signed by me, Piers Corbyn.
By me,
Dr. Alicia Badenhorst, and Mr. Gujran Singh, and Ms. Jill Everett. And there's a list of references and attached documents which are not in front of us as we speak. And I want to add a point about the BBC, because the political and equality content of this letter are done. The BBC knew about this case, were informed, and have done nothing. That itself is disgraceful. I'll read a letter that was sent to Laura Bloomberg, the Chief BBC correspondent responsible for the NHS and many others. Very simple letter. Dear Laura, it was sent in 2020. Dear Laura, April 2020, after one of these judgments. Dear Laura, could you raise the issue with the current acting Prime Minister that a lower court judge has ruled NHS staff contractual terms are not contractual, leaving frontline workers and their families exposed. especially if they become sick or die during the coronavirus crisis. The individuals who obtain such a horrific ruling are very senior managers in NHS England. Such a ruling is contrary to the Supreme Court and Parliament legislation. Please confirm you will raise the issue on our behalf. Now, nothing happened. It was not raised. The BBC was silent. This is an utter disgrace. Laura Kunze and the BBC have a duty to convey these issues to the public. They failed. All sorts of people have been pressurised, sacked, or whatever. We don't know all the implications, but they are very serious. We do have contractual terms and conditions for reasons. So that has now been undermined by a court judgment which has been ignored and swept under the carpet. This must be reconsidered by a court, by a very senior court, and that being null as the election.
So, and you're asking to confirm whether this is correct in the letter?
We're asking them to confirm our understandings. As we say, they've got to say we're either wrong, or if they're not wrong, they've got to correct the wrongdoing.
So, people speaking out in the NHS now, they can be sacked for it, essentially.
That is the implication, yes, and that is very, very great. And those who want to inquire, Mr. Javid has got to write back to us, equality.fairness.campaign@gmail.com. And anybody else who's got inquiries, in the media, for example, that is the way to find out. Very, very great. And those who want to inquire, Mr. Javid has got to write back to us, equality.fairness.campaign@gmail.com. And anybody else who's got inquiries, in the media, for example, that is the way to find out. Thank you very much indeed for your attendance.
Yes, well, I think a great injustice has been done here. The National Health Service is relied on by just about the whole country. And the fact that this letter is dated, I believe it was April 4th or April 7th, 2020, that is at the start of the pandemic. Now, if you were in receipt of a letter saying that all the NHS workers' contracts are non-contractual, that could pose a huge danger to the whole country in the middle of a pandemic if all of those people could have walked out of work, if they would not be guaranteed their own rights and their own salaries to support and feed their family, if they could just be fired at will because they were non-contractual. I mean, this is massive in the middle of a pandemic where they're putting posters up everywhere saying, let's protect the NHS because we can't overload the NHS because it's going to be so overloaded. Now at that point, Boris Johnson should have said something, the health department should have said something, but when the BBC is alerted and says nothing and just buries the story, it's not discussed in Parliament. I mean, this is a little bombshell waiting to go off.